Well, good evening. Um, I had a request from one of the people who follows me, as it were, on the YouTube, which case, by the way, I mostly have transport and other issues. But this time I'll be talking about some of the things that happened to me as a young boy, really, or sub-teen or into teenage years, of the paranormal, as it were, of ghosts, let's say, and I'll outline several incidents to you, and you can make your own mind up on what you feel about these issues. And the more I think about these things, the more you realise that the universe is extremely complex and puzzling, and there's far more behind it than what we first imagine. Uh, as a young boy, I was in my room one day, and what had happened, actually, by the way, was sometime earlier. We lived in a semi-rural location in Hallam, Victoria, and a man called Mr. Moss had actually committed suicide. He lived on a farm, and his son had badgered him, you know, Dad, sell the farm, this type of thing, and he wanted the money. Anyway, he couldn't take it anymore. So what happened was, I was up there in my room and I was writing something on a book, and I suddenly saw a man walking down the driveway, and I was startled, and I was about to call my parents. I don't know what time of night it was, but I was about to say, someone's walking in the yard. I looked at this person, and he just faded completely, just faded away, just disappeared. And I thought, wow, it was mind blowing. But another occasion, the person walked through our bedroom door, and it was actually shut. He walked right through the room and out the window, and he was wearing like farming type of a hood and some old plaid shirt and old oilskin, that type of thing, old farming wear. And I was totally petrified. On another occasion, I was definitely awake, because what actually occurred, that my bed suddenly depressed, as if someone sitting on it. The room went cold, and I couldn't even scream. I just was that petrified. Anyway, I just got it out. I said, please, please, go away, go away, go away. And next minute, the bed popped back into normal position, and the person, I didn't even see him. There was no one sitting. I couldn't see the shape. Went away, and the room returned to normal temperature. It was just one of those things that was quite amazing. And one of the most amazing things of all, in that period, and we're talking the 1960s, and it happened, was my father used to work night shift, and he used to get home about 1:15 in the morning. It was in anyway. He used to hear his sounds, the car coming in, and he putting his heavy um, steel cap toe boots, like the heavy boots, down. You can hear him clonk down on the table, and he'd go into the kitchen, make up a Milo, and he'd sit around for a few minutes, and he'd go to bed. Well, one day I heard all these sounds, and see, we'd been warned off, like he wanted, give him a bit of his time to himself, so I didn't go near him at the time. And you heard all the sounds, and then there was absolutely nothing. After a few minutes, I thought, gee, it's not good, I wonder what happened. Dad, something might have happened to him. So I just quietly left out of the room, and it was pitch black. Normally you expect the light on, so I went down to the kitchen, and it was pitch black as well. And I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know what's happened here. So I went back to my room, and anyway, I just went to bed. And a few minutes later, I heard the sounds of my father's car coming in the driveway. Everything was repeated, and it was just the sound of him rattling the keys and opening the door, and his shoes plonked down on the table. He went in. You can even hear the pot tink onto the stove. He puts his Milo or hot milk on there, and makes up a Milo. Then he went off to bed. I could see the light under the door, so the light had gone on, and back off again. He went to bed. The next morning, I came out, and because my father was still asleep, as he does night shift, and my mother came out in her pajamas, and she said, "Oh, I've got to tell you about something that happened last night. It was just incredible." I said, "I'm about to tell you something. So, well, what happened?" "Oh," she said, "you heard it too." I said, "Yeah, absolutely. You heard all of this happen." Then there was silence. Then it was repeated about 15 minutes later. So we both heard that, and my brother and sister were sound asleep at that time. Now, I had a friend who was studying medicine, and I said to him, "What do you think this is all about?" I gave a full description of it, and he said, "Well, the only thing we can come up with in medicine, or is in psychology or psychiatry or whatever, is that maybe a person projects themselves from one place to another. That's their personality, or they project their desire to be at another location, and suddenly they come to that location, but it's not really them." Um, a very strange sort of situation. Anyway, it of course remains one of those mysteries in life, and as do the situations when I saw a couple of ghosts and experienced that entity or whatever it was sitting on my bed in the night time, although certainly I was awake. So one does reflect on these things, and you do some research on YouTube into ghosts, and you do research into aliens and into UFOs, and you do research into time travel. Even is one of the things I've had a look at. Now, a lot of it I'm quite skeptical about, or very cautious, to the extreme. And there's a lot of fakery going on with things. But anyway, I realise that there's more going on in this universe than we could ever dream of. That's more complex and more fascinating. So you look into God, you look into creation, you look into lots of things, and you discover much, of course, in Google, or of course in YouTube. So I'll leave those little stories that actually occurred to me with you, and I hope that you've found them of interest. And thank you very much for viewing.